Hi there and welcome to another Midweek Memo. Do you fancy a coffee? There you go. All right, while Sam is just enjoying that behind the camera, let me share a couple of thoughts with you. We are called to be dispensers of God's grace. This last weekend we were looking at 1 Peter chapter 4 verses 8 to 10, and there's a lovely paraphrase in the J.B Phillips version. It says this: "Be hospitable to each other without secretly wishing you hadn't got to be. Serve one another with the particular gifts God has given each of you as faithful dispensers of the magnificently varied grace of God." We are dispensers of God's grace. God's grace comes into us through a relationship with Christ, and we're called to dispense it, to share it out. And one of the ways that we do that is through hospitality. But what shape does hospitality take? Well, it could be so many different things. Perhaps, in your case, it involves seating people around a table and putting food in front of them. But it can be very different. It could be just a little bit of time that you've got on the end of the phone. It could be your great gift of administration that brings people together. Perhaps you're great at washing up. Perhaps you're great at planning things. There are so many and very different ways that we can administer God's grace. Ultimately, hospitality is an attitude that takes an interest in the needs and the person of others. Now, there are lots more ideas in last Sunday's sermon to catch up with. Do go back and have a look at that. And don't forget this week that just as we use this coffee dispenser to share some hospitality on a Sunday morning, each of us is a dispenser of God's varied grace. A couple of notices to share with you. First of all, this evening at 8 p.m. is Prayer at the Centre online. There's so much to be praying about right now, isn't it? Whether that's on the global scale with all that's going on in Ukraine, the earthquakes in Turkey, but also things that are going on much closer to home. All of us, I'm sure, have been shaken by the news of the death of the former head of Croydon High. So much to pray for on that level and in the life of our community and our ministry and individually. So do come and join us 8 p.m. to pray together. The second thing to share with you is that last Sunday we started a new series in our evening services on the subject of doubt and questions. And that's going to be running over the next 3 weeks. And we've got a chance for Q&A at the end as well. If doubt is something you struggle with, if you've got big questions about the church and theological issues, do plug into that series, watch it on the download, or come and join us in person in the coming weeks. We'd love to hear from you. And there are a couple of extra resources to help you with those kind of thoughts. They'll be linked with this video too. Thanks for joining us.